So performance related compensation, that is what the beginning of unit 4. So here let us start with the opening case study which was given in our textbook. So in the textbook they discuss the best practices of performance related pay in 3 companies. One is L&T, Legend Turbo, and National Panasonic company, which is Japanese company, and another US based telecom company, Huggies Escorts. Okay, so what they said in the opening case, in sense L&T is being Indian based company, right? So this company has developed a competency matrix. Competency matrix means when we are deriving performance related pay. They have listed 73 competencies in the competency matrix. So depending on these competencies, they will evaluate the performance of an employee. This is what they design. So these competencies are varying widely across managerial levels typically. This competency matrix enables the management to assess the developmental needs of employees. And similarly, they also can determine their compensation levels according to this development needs of employees. So this listed competencies, or it's like combination of knowledge, skills and attributes. Here how L&T appraises each employee. That was mentioned in the case. Here L&T appraises each employee on the listed competencies. That means already in the matrix they have 73 competencies, right? Based on that only they will measure, they will appraise the performance of an employee. And with these competencies only they will identify functional, managerial and behavioral skill gaps. If someone is not meeting with this kind of the skill, that is how they will analyze in these 3 criteria: functional skills, managerial skills and behavioral skill gaps, where they can easily identify the skill gap. When they have a criteria to assess, they can easily can identify the skill gap. So this helps the company to provide a customized training programs, because motive of training is to fill the skill gap, right? So that will give them a customized training programs which will bridge the gap between identified skills. So this competency matrix is always, obviously it will link to the business strategy. These L&T can design sustainable competency-based pay to meet the organizational needs. Well, every time they are repeating the benefit of improved employee motivation and performance. This competency-based pay will assure the good motivation performance from the employees. Obviously, that will lead to the meeting of organizational goals. This is what about L&T they gave, and about the Panasonic, that we all know, National Panasonic company, which is Japanese major. So this Panasonic company has developed a performance assessment system, which is typically relying on KRAs and KPIs. KRAs they prefer, not KPIs. KRAs in sense key result areas. So here they are assessing depending on the key result areas. So how these KRAs describes? So this KRAs describes performance goals for business, functional and behavioral domains. Okay, by aligning all these 3 areas, these KRAs will be described to assess the performance. So these are decided upon jointly by individual employees and at the same time their manager. In the beginning of financial year, this individual employees or managers will have a meeting to determine the KRAs of a specific job. So identification of these KRAs is a structured exercise. That means they have to come up with the discussions. They have to keep all the discussions into a documentation format. So these written document format will be considered as KRA for a particular job role. So it is then used to map the employee's progress also when they elevated the key result areas to assess the performance. Obviously, that will be very easy to align with the performance of an employee. So this will elevate the gaps, skill gaps, obviously, right? While evaluating the performance, as well we can, that means the structure will initiate to go for identification of the skill gaps, where it helps to give good training inputs. So everything has such connectivity, right? When we are initiating, when we are talking about performance assessment system, this will have a good structure, right? So here National Panasonic places a great deal of emphasis on the process of reskilling of employees. So as this company believes in growing talent within the organization, instead of opting for expensive mid-career hires, right? Every time we cannot go for recruitment. If we train the people who are already with the organization, that will reduce the cost to the company, and instead of hiring some others who is outside of the company, that will reduce the cost on that. Right? It's very clear when they discussed about National Panasonic Company's performance assessment system. And they discussed about another lead US based telecom company, how they are going with competency based performance enhancement model. Actually, this is a subsidiary they listed in. So it uses this Huggies Escorts. This uses a competency based performance enhancement model. So here each position in the organization is defined in terms of 23 competencies, which is categorized into 4 groups. First is attitude based, second is knowledge driven, third is skill centered, fourth is value based. So depending on these 4 groups, typically they have identified 23 key competencies. So the company uses these competencies to measure the deficiency of employees. That means to identify the skill gap of employees in each groups. When they categorize, one person may be good at attitude based, but may be lacked at skill centered competencies. This is how they could easily identify which area the employee need to be trained. That means from this system they can extract the training inputs. So this exercise is undertaken by the company Huggies Escorts, which maximizes the productivity as well as which creates awareness among employees about their performance levels. So these are few examples how the performance related pay is being exercised in different areas that we saw about L&T, we saw about Panasonic, and we saw about telecom giant. Or again, it's a US based company, right? Do you have any submissions in here?
No, ma'am.
Are you clear so far with me what I am discussing?
Yes, ma'am.
So here effective performance management system always ensures good quality of human resources, because earlier in the case that we have seen how a performance management system will elevate the performance of employees, right? So such a way, if every company have some PMS, determined PMS with specific KRAs, key result areas or KPIs, that system will help to assess the human resources, and as well as where the training is needed, the inputs will be very easy to elevate. So this performance system links the ability and contributions of employees as a team or individuals. The overall performance of organization can be examined with easy system. So here, effective design of employee compensation, that has to have a focus which could be extracted from performance management system, and performance linked pay or compensation have a strategic significance, like this will give employee motivation, this will reduce the absenteeism, and it will reduce the employee turnover. Okay, that will enhance the performance of an employee. So let us see how we can relate compensation management and performance management system. That's typically earlier we discussed how PMS was elevated in different companies, but there they didn't spoke about anything how they designed about compensation for that companies. Let us look into this, how compensation management point of view will be aligned with performance management system. So it helps this PMS will help in recognizing the efforts and contributions of the employees, right? Typically, we can come up with what is the contribution of this particular employee, what's the efforts, skill set possessed by a particular employee during that annually or quarterly, depending on the company when they are assessing. So thus it facilitates effective job pricing. That means how much pricing this job is getting to the company. That means through cost optimization and rewarding of this talented performance. That means how much that we are revenue is being generated through that job and how much the company is returning back to the employee. That could be identified by aligning performance management system with compensation management. And this structure will facilitate suitable compensation design. After coming up with the performance management system, the company can easily could identify what kind of reward that we can give to our employees. Again, these rewards would be depending on the performance metrics set by that particular company. So this PMS helps intrinsically improving employee motivation. So if you do this, this would be the criteria you will gain this. Obviously, the employee will be motivated to achieve the higher degree of commitment to that particular job, right? So this helps the employees to understand their strengths and weaknesses, which reciprocates on the performance feedback. Here employees develop themselves as well as they will try to develop along with the organization. This intrinsic motivation has such a power wherein the employee can be committed to the organization. And it also helps the employees in getting extrinsic motivation, like whatever the performance standard set by the organization. The employee will try to learn to achieve that performance level. Likewise, these are major things where how performance management system will help in compensation management, how it influences the decision of compensation management. Then performance related pay. So this performance related pay, which encompasses several company-wide schemes like employee participation and their ownership schemes, that means ESOPs and all. This typically they will speak of. This performance related schemes are designed and administered from a company's perspective always. If they fail to deliver, if they are not aligned closely to business strategies, definitely that could be a contrary perception and it will affect the performance of employees. The performance driven compensation cannot support the performance improvement of a particular employee. So here performance related pay is that wherein employee participation is measured in terms of commitment to teamwork and involvement of employee in problem solving. So these performance related pay schemes are designed when the company's perspective, that means as per the business making from the company, they will design the performance related pays. So some important areas which deserves attention from organization while they are developing a performance related pay. We have few steps in like competition and cost control. So while achieving the while being competitive in the market, at the same time, the company has to think of cost control. For competitiveness to hire the talents and all, the company should not allow to spend more on compensation to attract the talents and all. The cost control is mandatory whenever they are thinking of. When organization focuses more on customer satisfaction, employees also focus on their aspect by ensuring the quality of goods and services. So when performance and pay are linked together, it would be reflected on employees' behavior also. And one more factor is individualization. That means, see, effective PRP always requires organizations to balance between individualization and collectivization. That means individual work and teamwork, right? So here collective relationships at workplace are very common when it comes to teamwork and when they are achieving as a team. All are working for organizational goals, but workplace and employer relationship can also be individualized through reward mechanism. We may speak about the team appreciations, team rewards, but what is individual contribution? That's also matter. When performance related pay is being designed and when it is aligned with the compensation management, this has to be taken care. And monitoring and evaluation. This is very, very important to every organization. Here, organizations very often lack focus in some areas. So this monitoring and evaluation will give a path whether all the work is leading to the business strategy, organizational goals or not. So these are some key areas where the company has to take care while they are implementing performance related pays. And how to develop performance standards within the company. Do you have any points in here by observing the earlier videos? How to develop performance standards in the company? Girls, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Please do share your points. How to develop performance standards. No? Do you have a textbook with you? How many of you have textbook? Girls, do anybody have textbook with you? Say yes or no. Simple question. Yes. Who is telling? Yes or no, ma?
No, ma'am, I don't have textbook, ma'am.
You don't have Shiva and Shruti?
Ma'am, I'm in traveling, ma'am, so I don't have.
Okay. Shiva? Okay, let it be. Let's not waste the time. So developing performance standards. See, for effective compensation design and for developing performance standards, it's very, very important
Yes,
task
ma'am.
for every organization. So this, the approach of an organization, that may be top-down approach or bottom-up approach, or even that may be collaborative approach also. Neither of these two approaches is foolproof. In fact, an organization has to arrive at an effective trade-off by keeping in view its employees' diversity. Benchmarking performance standards with competing organizations may not always be a right approach here. So here in the textbook they gave a model of performance standards which is by CTV manufacturers. See that they gave the description of, they have 4 levels of setting performance standards. First level is discussing about simple description of a general expectation. That means first level. So here how CTV manufacturer illustrated the performance standards is performance standards should be related to the employee's assigned work and job requirement. First rule. And the reporting system should be adequate to measure and that should have more quantitative data. That is second point. Quantifiable measures may not apply to all functions. So to describe this in clear, specific terms and specific characteristics of performance quality that has to be verifiable and that would meet the expectations of performance standards. And fourth area, they are talking about accomplishment of organizational objectives. That means such as cost controls, improving the efficiency of the employees, project completions on times, process redesigns, customer services. Likewise, the objectives of the companies has to be accomplished through performance standards. So after developing these performance standards, the company has to check the use by using the following list of questions. Like, are the standards set by the company are realistic? Right? This we discussed. Yes. Checklists are the standards are realistic. These standards should be attainable and has to be consistent with job requirements. Okay. This example, when we are reading about this example, first level they are talking about simple description of general expectation. They took the example of task description. Here the standard set for task description is put different sub-assembled CTVs in an assembly line. That's simple description. See, for that task description, how this standard was set. Again, one more task description is writing annual reports. For this, they set the standard of annual reports will be submitted by agreed upon dates. That means online submissions, on-time submissions of annual reports. Likewise, depending on the task description, the standard has to be set. And in level 2, they talk about same thing, writing annual reports. If we take the example of writing annual reports, preparing annual reports and submitting the same to business heads within 7 working days before March 31st. If they submitted, that means this employee has met the performance standard. Are you with me, ma'am? Could you able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
So in
Yes, ma'am.
level 3, I am taking the same example of writing annual reports. Here the standard set by the company is produce annual reports as per departmental formats. Okay, prescribed format is there, they have to produce as per the format and submit to the business heads within 5 working days before before January 15th. So this is level 3 performance standard. Level 4. Again taking same writing annual reports is the thing. So here standard set for this is produce annual reports as per departmental format and submit this to the business heads within working days and before 15th of January. But what's the difference in level 3 and 4 instance? Here the description of in level 3 description of specific expectations and success indicators. In level 4 the description of specific expectations along with success indicators and conditions. So likewise the performance standards could be determined. See, if you have textbook actually, in the textbook they explained in detail how when mergers happened, that means when MOUs between the companies, they discussed about the condition when MOU was signed by ONGC and SAIL. How performance related pay was also come into online, like MOU rating scale. Whoever are the people working under MOU, how these people's rating would be. Okay, that is what they assessed here. So if you